Hello, everyone. Welcome to Horror Talk here at the Horror Rim. We're back for another episode for this month of February. By the way, if it's your first time coming here, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. One thing we do here at Horror Talk is we talk about everything horror, whether it be indies, big screen horror movies, whatever. Let me introduce my co-host. He is a horror fan, filmmaker, my man, Adam Freeman. Adam, welcome back.
Hey everyone. I'm really excited about this episode. So
All right. So, Adam, listen, we're going to jump into some breaking news in the indie horror community. So, Anthony Camino and his significant other, Mandy Camino, they came out with a movie called Killer Pizza. I had him on the show last year. They talked about it. Apparently, this was an idea from their 13-year-old daughter. So, another filmmaker came out with a movie called The Killer Pizza Man. And it started this whole fucking shit that, hey, you stole our idea. And for the last 72 hours, there's been some backlash. There's an actress, Nicole Butler Vegas. There's been the Caminos have said that, she stole their idea. She's this and that. Nicole has called Anthony Camino a wife beater, and that they are scammers, and they still. It's been a whole shitstorm that's come out of this, and I sat most of the night watching a 30-minute long live Facebook from Mandy Camino, and I am so fascinated. So the question I want to ask you is, as a filmmaker, you come up with an idea of the movie. You haven't made the movie yet, not in pre-production. You just put a crowdfunding out there, and somebody else comes along, jumps ahead of you, and similar idea. I mean, I got the posters up here, they're not similar. Even the stories from I'm reading for IMDb are not even similar for the most part. The only similarity is there is a killer pizza. One is a man and one is just a pizza. As a filmmaker, ethically, morally, is that a good thing to do? To you see someone put an idea and then you spin it into your own idea?
it depends on, I feel like when it's in the indie filmmaking, nothing is off the table. So, I mean, really, is it really copying what they did, or is it just the pizza idea, like having a pizza there? Because if it's like a pizza man, like I would, one of the tropes I think that goes all the way back into 80s horror is you always have the pizza delivery guy. And I think Slumber Party Massacre really hit on that in part one and in part three. And in part three, it was a pizza woman. And you really see her, get a pretty brutal death. And I think it's just been a trope for so long. A pizza man is a trope or a pizza delivery driver is such a trope for 80s horror, even into maybe some 90s indie. But it's always been there. It's always been a trope. Pizza just goes with horror films. I mean, I think everybody got their pizza, went to the video store back in the day. So I feel like it's always really been there. Also, it's killer food. Like we have Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. We have a Killer Donut movie now. We have, and that one was actually really good. Now they have like
Dead Man. Dead Man. Yes.
Pancakes. Horror film that was just made. I think one of my friends was in it, and I don't think just because something has a certain food in it makes you copying someone else's idea. Because if that was the case, then you would be, if you made a serial killer film, like Halloween, is a serial killer, and if you go out and you make another serial killer, does that mean that you're copying them? I don't say that that's copying. I say that that's inspiration, but I really think all films, when you get to the root of slasher, are we all copying Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho when you get to a slasher? No, we're not. It's
No.
all unique. It's all different. So I do think there's a difference there. I think there are certain people in the indie horror community, which I've had my run-ins with the Caminos. A lot of my friends have, and a lot of other independent filmmakers have as well. Um, I'll keep my opinions to myself about them, but uh, um, we work in indie horror. You have really good horror films, you have the sleazy horror films, you have bottom of the barrel, you have creature features, you have everything under the sun. If you look at the Amityville franchise, there's like what is there like over 30 or 40 films now?
Yeah.
So I mean, even looking at that, like take pizza out of the equation, put Amityville in. Is it really stealing an idea? No, because every film, no matter how good or bad it is its own thing. It's just using something. So I would say no. I'd say it depends on the script. And if it's just a pizza, no. Pizza Man or a killer pizza, no.
Well, so I went on to IMDb just to look at the plot for each one, and the
Yeah,
one
let's
for
compare.
Killer Pizza, it pretty much it is vague. It is vague. Is let me pull it up real quick. I had it up, but like, hold on, let me pull. It's a planned film. Shit. By the way, there is another Killer Pizza 2 movie out that's a short film. I don't know if you can see it, but so it's not totally original idea. There is another Killer Pizza short film. As soon as you type in Killer Pizza, a 2013 movie comes up. So,
Yeah.
it's something that's been done before. So
Yeah,
it's not something that's a completely original idea.
not at all.
But I'm looking under IMDb and for Killer Pizza, it says Killer Pizza is a dark and horrific comic tale that explores themes of betrayal, supernatural revenge, and unlikely bonds formed amidst adversity, all set within the ambience uh, of a struggling pizza shop threatened by greedy adversaries. That really doesn't.
Is that the new film? That the first one, the Killer Pizza
That's
film?
that's the Camino film.
Oh, okay.
I,
And
I feel
then
like and then Killer Pizza Man. By the way, I think I'm saying her name wrong. It's Camino. I don't know. Everybody knows who I'm talking
Camiano.
about.
I think it's either like Camiano or I call it
Camino.
Camino.
Yeah.
Camiano. Yeah.
But
It's like
all right.
Jelaine. Some people say G Lane or Ghislaine. We just don't care.
But Killer Pizza Man, Joker Lopez, is betrayed by his gang and left to die behind a pizza shop. A voodoo curse brings him back as a small demonic pizza creature. After killing his crew, he haunts teenagers who choose to ignore him. So, it's a different story. Once again, I don't know the plot of Killer Pizza.
Yeah, that one sounds completely different to me. I
Correct.
think that I like the second one. Sounds better. I would rather have see something like that per se. Um, I don't think it's copying in any way, shape, or form. Besides a pizza, but it's an anchovy or pepperoni.
Yeah, look, look. Listen. When I started this YouTube channel, I was pretty much I was the only one who was really doing it at a successful rate. And
Yeah,
then and so many people. There's so many fucking indie horror YouTube channels who are doing the same thing. At first, I was kind of annoyed by that, but I find it kind of
yeah,
flattering. But I find it kind of flattering now because,
yeah,
hey, yes, there's people who stole my idea and they're doing what I'm doing, but they're putting their own little spin on it. So I'm okay with that. So like at the end of the day, yes, these are both killer piece of movies, but they seem like two drastically different movies.
yeah. And another question comes into play is the person who's doing the film that they're saying that they're copying, was she involved in the Camino's pizza film?
Apparently, yes. That is
Well,
the whole situation.
and here comes to play too. There are a lot of filmmakers out there, especially in indie horror, and this is not to downplay crowdfunding, because crowdfunding is really important, and you need to look at people's filmographies and understand who they are. And if it's a first time filmmaker, I get it. Like, be a little weary. You never know. But sometimes, like, people get involved in film, and a lot of things go wrong. I have heard horror stories from, I mean, people that we're talking about now, and also I have seen it firsthand. I've seen what they've done, and the thing was, is, Camino is a first time filmmaker, and he had three films that he was doing up at the same time. He never made a film before, and he was crowdfunding for all three. Do you know how hard it is to make a film? Like, just to
Imagine.
never have made one before, and then you're making three, and then it's like, I what is it? I think it was like back in 2021, maybe they had a film up, and I think the other day on like 12 days ago, they just posted a first look of that film, and it's been how many years since they've been, and that's not to downplay time, because indie film does take time, but to say that someone's copywriting or stealing your idea, and are you an established filmmaker? Are you an established actor, an established producer? Have you worked on other people's films? Do you know what you're doing? Because what happens a lot of times is people get involved in these films, and then they either get fired, or they see people for who they really are, and they're not somebody that you would want to work with because they're not good people. They're not safe to work with. That's been a really big issue, I think, not just in independent, but I think in Hollywood as well, as we're seeing with what's going on in the news, like the blank files, which we can't say on YouTube because it flags it. But you see what I'm saying? It's like, there are good people, there are bad people. Who are you dealing with? And if you do get involved with something, and you happen to drop out, and you've had people that are your friends who have given to the project or something like that, and you kind of branch off and you go and doing your own thing, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't. Even if you take a pizza, per se, because somebody is expecting a fun killer pizza film, and you have a whole different plot. I mean, so what? I mean, both can go out and make their films. It's not like, you know, and I hate to put it this way, but there are so many indie films out there with a title like that, and it's not to downplay the title, because it could be an amazing film. It could go and win awards, but no one's really going to take it seriously
Yeah.
enough. Like, you get on Tubi and you see how many films are on there. There's a lot of good ones and there's a lot of bad ones. Either way, it takes a lot of work to get one done. So go out and make your movie. The other person go out and make their movie. Who the fuck cares? Like, just go out and make them and see what happens. All this unnecessary drama, especially from what I see from what I have seen from them and how they have annihilated people. I know things that they have said about me. I'm not coming from a place with my answer that is negative towards them, because I'm being neutral about the situation. But honestly, like, I mean, think about it. Like, I mean, how many Amityville films are out there? You have Amityville Shark,
A lot.
Amityville Dollhouse. I don't know. Like, there's like everything that you can think of for like an Amityville Christmas. There's everything. Amityville Ghost is like, it's like everything. Toy Box. How many of those movies came out and people just have fun with it, right? No
Yeah.
matter what, it doesn't matter if the movie has a same killer whatever in it. People are going to look at it different ways. People are going to support. People aren't going to support. And the thing, though, I think first and foremost is is, are you an established filmmaker? Are you really doing it? Are you doing what it takes? Because if you're not, then why are you getting upset about it? You know, like how many of those films came to fruition? And I think that is where you have to look first and say, okay, let's be adult about this. Let's be, and let's just ignore it. Because sometimes it's best to, like, if somebody goes out and they say something bad about you, especially in this industry, the best thing you can do is not say anything because nobody cares. But when you feed into it, especially if it's just one sided, because I saw the thing that you were, that we looked at earlier, even if it's just that one side, let it collapse on that side. The other person doesn't have to say anything at all. They're going to
I
go
agree.
out there and make their movie. And I think that negativity as professionals, you are truly professional and you are truly out here to make film, you're not going to complain. You're not going to show the bickering, the arguing, all of that bullshit. Why? Because you're going to run away people who are going to give to any type of film whatsoever. And I have seen people really run away because of situations and people that even we're talking about have been involved. I have had people come to me and say, "Oh, I don't ever want to give again," because there was another guy. I think he raised like over $100,000, maybe it was 60 to $100,000, somewhere around that. I can't remember. But apparently he took the money and he ran. And it had a lot of people contributing. And then apparently he gave the money back eventually. I'm not sure. But that causes people to be very scared. And you have to be very mindful of how you present yourself, be professional, how you make statements, and how you go about this industry because it's already a thin line. Making a film, something that is ultimately, if it's good enough, you're going to get residuals back. And you could keep going and doing that. And if you're hurting your industry, even if you think that you're hurting the other person or putting them straight, you're hurting yourself and you're hurting everyone around you.
You
Point
1%
blank.
because at the end of the day, the majority of horror movie watchers do think indie horror is a joke. Let's be honest. They think it's
Yes.
an absolute joke and they think it's garbage. And
Yep.
that's 80%, and that's 80% of horror movie watchers. Let's put out there. That is they're the ones who go to the movie theaters, they're the ones who pay the money. They're the ones who go to the horror conventions. You have only that little small 20% of horror fans who actually watch this stuff.
Yeah.
And who
And
actually
it's
admire this
dwindling
stuff
too.
and support this. And it's definitely dwindling. And so, like, indie horror is not as big as people in the indie horror community thinks it is because most people
Right.
don't go in Tubi. They really don't. Like I talk to so many people about Tubi, where is majority of the indie horror is at. It's on Tubi and it's on Tubi. I would say falls on Tubi, but mostly Tubi. And most people are like, what's that? And Tubi has been out for a long time. And
Yeah.
the average consumer of horror doesn't even know what the fuck Tubi is. So
Yeah.
that means they're not even watching any of the indie horror.
And it's like I tell people all the time, like at work, places I go, people I run into, I'm like, do you have Tubi? Like, what's that? I'm like, it's better than
Yes.
Netflix for sure. But also, it's like just so many people, and it's just, it's honestly, it's what killed the industry. What killed the industry? Streaming killed the industry because you have so many apps, so many places you can go. And Tubi is honestly one of the best places I feel like because your average horror fan that's a cinephile or, when you get a recommendation, like if you go and you look at a film and like online on Google, it's going to say it's on Prime, it's on Netflix, it's on Plex, on Tubi. Those are the main ones. It's not going to have all the other little ones. So it's out there. but just so many people, they just use Amazon or they just have Netflix and they watch what's coming out mainstream. And honestly, you have that working against you. You have the companies who constantly try to make it harder. So, like, let's say you film on just a digital camcorder, or you have VHS, you're doing a shot on video, or you're doing it on your phone. If you upload those films, or if you try to put them out on Amazon, they have a they they came out with a while ago. I don't know if they've changed it, but you can't even stream the film to make money off of it unless it's shot by a certain camera, which most people will lie and say, oh, yeah, it was shot on this. That way it can go on streaming.
Yeah.
But those cameras are absolutely ridiculous. To even try to rent one is expensive as hell. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like I think Danny, what was it? Danny Boyle, who did the first film in the trilogy of the new 28 Weeks Later, or whatever. He shot it on iPhone. I mean, but he's very established, and that got put out. Any other filmmaker who did that, you're going to have a hard time getting that on streaming. I mean, even credits alone. Like, I had my first film that I did, it had crystallized credits. Well, Tubi didn't like that. So the distributor had to go back, take those credits out, and redo the credits in white font, even though artistically, and my vision was to have crystallized credits. And then I was like, well, can we make it pink? So at least it's got some kind of color, because the color scheme was pink and blue and purple. I'm like, no, it has to be white. And then it was like certain scenes are like, no, we have to, like, we can't have this because of the way it's shot, or blah, blah, blah. And they would give me like this little massive list of reasons why it has to be fixed. So then you have that working against you. But then you have the arguing, bickering online, and how you make these films and how you get them promoted and get them financed. That alone itself is pushing away people. So you have all of this working against you. It couldn't be any harder. I mean, it is hard shit. Like, it has absolutely broken me as a person before trying to get a film done. So I think with the arguing, the bickering, and like being online and saying, oh, this film is copying my film, let it the fuck go. Who the fuck cares?
Adam,
Yeah.
listen, the I'm saying the names wrong, but the Camino, I'm gonna say Camiano, these motherfuckers make $100,000. They raise $100,000 in crowdfunding a film.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is doing that. No, listen, 99.9% of the filmmakers who I interview wish they had $100,000 budget.
And here's the thing with the budgets, though. If you do a fan film, and this is where directors have a problem, like directors who are doing original content that you can put out and stream and make money off of, put it out on a physical release, have companies come in like Vinegar Syndrome. Like, I know, like, a lot of films that I've been a part of, Vinegar Syndrome has put out, and those are like legit releases. Like, that's the best company that you could possibly have put out. But you will never be able to distribute or make a dime off that film if it's a fan film. In fact, you could be sued. You could be sued. And that's the reality of it. And if anybody wants to get mad at me, then you need to understand the reality of it. There have been people that I know who have went out and made fan films, and then they get sued by the company who made it. They have the actors, the directors, the writers, people who don't really appreciate that, because you're infringing on that, and you're bringing in this massive budget from your backers. And we look at their very first film they did, which was a fan film. It was a Friday the 13th Bloodlines. Not saying anything bad about it. It might be the best movie out there. I haven't watched it. But either way, you will never be able to make money off that. And if you do, you could be sued. You can't release it. In the physical releases that people make for that, I mean, some of them really get by. Like, I have a friend who made one, and she only sent it out to the backers. But even still, then you're walking a thin line, and people who back these films, I'm not saying don't back them, but I have heard directors sit there and tell me to my face, which makes me mad. And I keep my mouth shut because, it's not my film, it's not me, but you're going to have to pay taxes on that too. And if you aren't, you're going to get in a lot of trouble because Indiegogo, for example, I paid my taxes on my budget that came in when I filed. You have to do that. It's important that you do that. You don't want to get in trouble, and that's a big chunk of money. So, first and foremost, they're going to take the tax out on that. Indiegogo takes their percent out, which is 20%. And then on top of it all, you have this massive cabal of people who have just given to this film, and they're never going to get anything out of it besides going to YouTube and watching it. You cannot own it. And if it gets taken down because it's infringing on the rights of the franchise, then that movie's gone. $100,000 wasted. And it could very well happen at any time. Anybody who has done a fan film, you could be sued at any point. And that's why I don't do fan films. That's why I don't want to be a part of a fan film. Like, I'll support my friends who do them, and I will help them do their artwork, whatever. But I'm not going to make one. And I'm not going to speak ill of them, but I'm going to talk about the reality of it. So you have this person who has never been a filmmaker. I remember when he came into the industry, and he was friends with one of my really good friends. And I'm not going to say her name, but the whole context there was very misleading, and it was like they were using people from the community to learn the ins and outs, to see who they could, I would say, what's it called? Network with. And they networked, and they landed on this show that was on YouTube. I remember it. It was up. I don't think it's up anymore. It may have changed its name. And they would slander everybody in the community. And then not just me, but just multiple people. And I remember they were so mad that there was a Canadian that came to the United States and filmed a fan film here. And they were like, why did you come here? And I mean, they drug him through the mud. And in all honesty, who the fuck cares? If you want to make a film, you can go make it anywhere you want, right? But my thing about this is it's like he did not make film before that. I have been working with people like who's been working since the 70s, making film as an actor, learning the ins and outs. People who've been working for years in this, and they don't even bring that kind of money in. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but what are you really doing to the people who back that? Like, what are you really getting? And do they understand what they're doing? Do they understand by being a producer on those films, you could potentially be sued along the project because you were listed as a producer? You're listed as an executive producer, which financed the film. You're reliable also for that film, even if you had nothing to do with it. And that is the magnitude of what people just don't understand. And that's why I would never put the people that I know or the people that do give to my films or any other crowdfunding. I think that's why the serious directors who really take their films and their filmography very seriously, they go out, they try to make something original. It's a lot of hard work. I know quite a few who have stepped back because they have families. And if people understood the magnitude of what it involves, it's absolutely unreal. It breaks you. It'll break you. And, like people like Donald Farmer, for example, I've worked with Donald Farmer numerous times. I mean, he makes it look easy sometimes because he can just, even if it's not the best movie, and even if you don't like his work, you could sit and get drunk and have a great freaking time watching those movies. And some of them are actually really, really good. Mm-hmm. Like I really like his earlier works, but that's just an example. But that's someone who's been doing it since the 70s, and he was there to to meet and network and see some of the original films that we love that were in horror, like Evil Dead, John Carpenter's films, like and just he was there in like Evil Dead Part 2, writing I think for Fangoria, but he got to watch like be on set with them and ride around with Sam Raimi. And that alone, I think, really gives insight to so much that we are never going to get to see something like that. And I think what's important in independent film per se is is we all want to make a movie. Everybody wants to be a part of a movie. You gotta learn to get along. You gotta learn to get along. That's the first and foremost. Gotta be professional. And if you're going to make something and put this much time and effort into it, you want to have the mindset to say, okay, in 30 years, are we still going to be watching this? Are we still going to be wanting to see this? Is this going to turn into a classic? Are we going to be praised for it? That's the kind of mindset that you need to have if you're a director. And if you don't have that mindset, I don't care what anyone says, you don't need to be a director. You don't need to get into this industry because you're going to hurt it and ruin it for the people who are in this industry for making film. And it's like I don't like, for me, like I don't do it for fame. I don't do it for wanting to be well known. I do it because I love it. I have a passion for it. I'm an artist and I want to create moving art. And that's the way that I internalize it and visualize it. And that's where my passion is driven from. So that alone is why I do this. So for someone to be like, oh, I just want to make a movie, go out and get a few friends and grab your phone and go out and practice and see what it takes. Edit the thing. Look at the music. Look at how to get music for it. It's very tough. It is very tough, which some companies are using the AI now, which Hollywood's using the AI. I mean, I kind of have a really good question I'd like to ask you. And there was there's an AI feature now that you can act out the scene, but like, let's say you're transforming into a werewolf. I think I sent you this the other night, and it showed him transforming. And that transformation, if you was to do that through special effects, you're looking at like a ton of freaking money. But then you can do that with AI and then turn around and then use special effects. I'm not saying I'm for AI or I'm against it or whatever, but I'm saying that there's just so many things you could do now to make your film look good. You don't need $100,000 for a fan film.
But
you don't need that.
But if you get $100,000 for indie film, that is not coming out of your own pocket, which means
mine came out of my pocket. I spent $100,000.
Well, my first movie. Well, I mean, I told you, and next year I'm definitely gonna be making my fun movie. My first movie. I'm not asking for no Indiegogo. I'm not asking for any crowdfunder because I don't know if my movie is going to be a stinker or not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if my first movie is going to, probably will be. It's going to be a stinker or not. And I feel like once you do crowdfunding, there's so much. I'm just from watching a film. There's so much pressure to put something out as quick as possible to deliver, and I don't want that damn pressure.
That's a point that I would love to discuss right now, the pressure of that, because it's something that I'm dealing with personally that I would love to just clear that air out with for a minute. Because the pressure of crowdfunding, and you have these people who've never been involved in film, they don't know what it takes. They have no idea. They just see something that's really cool, it's promoted, and they want to give to it, and they want that product immediately. It's like consumerism. Like they are buying something and they're wanting it immediately. It's not like that. It's like you are making art, whether it be shit or it be good. People have their own art. And I do say that you should put care into your art because, like, for example, you think back like the artwork of Michelangelo, Leonardo, da Vinci. Their art is just exquisite. It didn't happen overnight, but you look at art today and you don't see art like that anymore. You see a lot of, I would call it more like a new age art. You see shapes, splatter, like you have people putting buckets with paint in it and just throwing it and saying, oh, here's my art. And I'm not saying that's not art, and that is quick, but you see the quality of like older artwork and how long that must have taken versus throwing some paint on something and calling it art. And again, art is subjective. I'm not saying it's not art, but you see the difference, the quality and then the non. So my thing is it's the same thing with independent film. When I did my film Scream Dream, for example, we shot in September of 2023, and by January, we said, well, nobody's going to do anything over the holiday. That's holiday. It's busy. One person worked at FedEx. I worked with the public. I was slammed during holiday, and that goes for everybody. If you have kids, you got to go shopping. It's no. So we put that up to about like the first of like January, February area, and then we were editing through 2024 and 2025, and now the film is done. But here's the thing that people don't see, and this is what I think. I don't know. I think that some filmmakers try to skip this process and it downs their project a little bit because you've got, like with us, like we did, I consider it a musical because it was a heavy metal band. So we wanted to remake the song, right? So just for an example, just to tell people what goes into this filmmaking so they can get a grasp of why we talk about this, why we do this. We had a song from a shot on video film. And that song is not released anywhere else. We had the rights to remake it. We checked with the distributor. We had the music rights as well. Well, since you don't even have the music for it, I had to hire somebody that I knew in South Carolina to go through and time every beat in the music. Take the instruments and build the instruments. Then take that and send it to New York. And then have them put in synthwave and mix it up a bit, add more music, add layers to it. Then I had to send it to a vocalist in Argentina and a vocalist in, I think she was in Ohio at a studio. And then they both had to sing the song because there's two people that sing it. And then we had to make the music because we had to do it backwards. We had to film them singing the original song and then cut that out and then add in that new song that we just had to send every which way and mix it up and edit it and make it different each time and like time it absolutely perfect so the mouth is with the movement of the words. Mm-hmm. That's hard. That's hard. That's work. That's months and months of work. And that's just one song. That ain't even the visual effects. That ain't even the color editing, the contracts, getting everything together, updating the distributor, trying to get an ETA, and that's not even like considering that, you may have to ADR things. And like luckily I had one of the best editors I think I ever could have, which is Jason Crow. And he took his time to be like, hey, we made something here. I see something good in this. I'm going to go through and I'm going to edit. I'm going to try to do some unique stuff with the editing, stuff that really ain't been done before. I'm going to play with visuals. I'm going to recolor it, and I'm not going to just be done with it. After it's recolored, go back, change it up again, and keep doing that. And now we're here in 2026, and it's been a long time since we filmed in September 2023, but the amount of work that has went into this is unholy and unreal and excruciating for the people that's doing this stuff. And I have a composer who's doing music for different scenes. And the thing about this is like, we had to go through with Indiegogo, and what Indiegogo did to us as filmmakers, and I'm sure that they didn't realize when they did this, is when Indiegogo was bought out, they changed their perks, how you can view your perks that was bought, which is a fucking nightmare to even try to get all that and then recheck and make sure that you get all those perks in the film, whether it be your name, your photo, their email, their shipping address to send off posters. I can't figure it out. And I mean, I'm gonna have to, and I'm trying. I have the old print off available, so I think I can use the number off that, their order number, to go in. So like if you're a director and you're watching this, I think if you already have that printable sheet that you printed out, you can go in and you can try to find it. And it's still there, but they make it really hard. So Indiegogo itself now is almost obsolete for a filmmaker. Unless like if you're selling like physical perks. So Just that alone, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. That's the sprinkles of what we do here. So for people who don't have never made a film or are not in film or understand, there's a massive process. There's a group of people. When you see a Hollywood professional film you made, you see hundreds of people. You're looking at like some, I've seen some have 3 people work like to make a film. Some have 10, 12 people. I've seen some people with 40 people making a film, and it's hard work. So I want to say that before we go forward, because sometimes you talk about things and people just don't understand. And I
Mhm.
think that's important. If this guy got $100,000, he made a fan film, no residuals off that. You're never going to get nothing off that. And you could possibly be sued for making it. That's stupid. I'm sorry, but it's stupid. And I will speak my mind on that. It's weird. It's crazy, and it's
I'm
good that
telling you,
he's moving to
yeah,
something better.
he's moving to other things, and listen, he has mastered the art of crowdfunding. Him and his wife have mastered the art of crowdfunding.
There's a wonderful way
But
to crowdfund, and I have to tell everyone, if you there's people that you can go out there to hire to learn how to play with algorithm. It's all in algorithm. That it's not just posting an Indiegogo up and saying, okay, here it is, everyone, will you get to this? It's not that. You're looking at hard freaking work. It takes 3 months prior to going into it. I'm under an NDA. I can't say what it involves because people actually, you pay people to teach you this stuff, so I can't say what it is publicly, but it's a lot of freaking work to plan for that. It's not just simply putting it up. You're being played with algorithm, and I'm not saying it tricks you into thinking, oh, let me jump on this, but it does push it out to a bigger, broader population if you know how to play the algorithm.
now, bouncing off of that, but yes, I would not. I personally wouldn't do crowdfunding because I also want my own. I want skin in the game, right? If I'm using other
Yeah,
people's money, it's not going to motivate me compared to my as much as if I. It's almost like the kids who parents pay their way through college, right? I don't know.
you
Majority of the kids I knew when I went to college who parents paid their way through college didn't take it seriously. Most of them fucking failed out or dropped out.
yeah,
But somebody who's getting student loans and they're paying their way through fucking college or they went to military or whatever, they take it more seriously. And I feel like
yeah,
that's what it's with anything. And I think that it's hard to take. I would be hard for me to take filmmaking seriously or making a film seriously if I'm using someone else's money compared to my own. That's
yeah.
just me. Leave it at that.
I mean,
Now,
people can look and say, "Oh, you brought in 20,000," but they don't see the other $60,000 that you put into it. That you
yeah,
worked 3 jobs,
yeah,
and I did that. I did that. I know the hard way. Even on my first film, I'm not saying my first film is the best thing in the world because it's not. It's a slow burn. But what I did is I wanted to play with aesthetic because I think as a filmmaker, I think it's important that you really find your niche. And like when you look at a Tim Burton film, for example, you know it's a Tim Burton film just by watching it. You know because it's his style. And I think that that's something that a lot of independent filmmakers don't do. They don't find their niche. They don't find their style. They tend to throw actors in there with like outfits that they brought. And I remember I watched one film, every person in the movie had black on. Everybody was in black. I was like, what is this, a funeral? I mean, there's got to be some color. And then nobody had makeup on. I mean, girls had, like the standard, like, but when you're in a movie, take it seriously.
I have
Take
a
it
question.
serious. Yeah.
To take my taking it serious. If you're a filmmaker and you are, and I'm not talking about anybody, I'm talking about anybody who's doing this in general, right? If
Yeah.
you're a filmmaker and you're casting your actors and actresses based off of how much money they're willing to pay to get the role. Are you not making a shitty movie?
I mean, a shitty
Like you've
ass
never
movie.
seen a like you've never seen them act. They might have
No.
never act. You don't. You're literally like someone is going to be your lead, right? And your lead
Yeah.
is the most important person in your fucking movie,
Oh yeah.
and you don't and
100%.
you
You
don't
gonna get me
handpick
on a
an
roll right
individual.
here.
But
Yeah.
Adam, you don't handpick that individual. That individual bought that role.
Yep.
Holy shit! Are you not making a shitty movie? You
Here's the
have to be
thing
making a
now.
shitty movie.
There are so many actors out there. There is tons of actors that I've never even seen in a film that has went to film school that's on my Facebook. And they have a unique look, they're different looking, they're someone I've never seen before, and they're available. There are hundreds of actors out there.
There really are.
Hundreds, thousands. And it's like you see the same people in it, or people are buying roles. And it's not the fact that, like I'm not mad that they're getting a lot of work if it's the same person, but A, I feel like it'd be typecasting. And B, I think that a lot of people that is an independent film, the audition process is not being like you're like people are just wanting to get the script and then wanting to hire their friends, which is fine because you should do that in the beginning. But as you go on, you should hold auditions and you should watch how people come to that audition or send you an audition. You should look at how their acting range is, and then not just by what they're willing to do, but you should also look at how they present themselves. Because if someone, like I've had people send me auditions before wanting to work with me, and they send me an audition and they have a leather jacket on, they got fishnet, they got multicolored hair, they have all this makeup on and black, like so much black eyeshadow, they put Pamela Anderson to shame. But here's my thing with that. I'm not downing them, but the way that you properly do an audition, like I studied with Joy Morris. Her ex-husband is Eric Morris, and it's the Eric Morris technique. If you all ever want to look into that, it's a really great style of acting. It's method acting, though. Some people don't like that, which is okay. But that what they did though was we learned how to act, we learned our craft, we learned how to play with emotions and things like that and the range. And the problem with independent film is you don't really have time to do that. Like for example, when I was working with Kathy Podwell on a film, she was in Night of the Demons, she was in Dallas, but one of the things was she would walk off for a while and take time to, like, if she had to be upset, she'd come back to set and you just she was upset for this scene. And then she'd go into it with that. And that's, you can't just, some people can turn on the emotions, some people have to get into it. And that takes time. When you're an independent film at times, it's, especially if you're not as established, it's hard to do that because you don't have time. You're filming 19-hour days. But when I get back to like saying like with the actors themselves, you should be showing up or sending an audition tape in. And for women, this is how it works, and this is how professional works. If you ever want to go somewhere, especially in like a SAG film and you're auditioning, you have your hair pulled back in a ponytail if it's long. You wear no makeup whatsoever. I don't care if you're going to play the slut of the film and you have to be skanky. You don't show up skanky for the role. You show up and they have specific colors. It was a gray or black shirt, and it had to be a t-shirt. It cannot be low. I remember they said no low neck. It could be a V cut, but it can't be low. And you need to wear blue jeans. You cannot wear any jewelry whatsoever. You cannot wear any makeup whatsoever. You need to learn how to professionally present yourself. And the way that you would do it is, hello, my name is Adam Freeman and I represent myself. Or, hello, my name is Adam Freeman. I'm represented by da 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 da, and I'm auditioning for the role of Anthony in the movie Truly Madly, which is a film I did. And you would pause, and then you go into your monologue and you would deliver and then you pause and you go back to place. That is a professional audition. That is how you do it professionally. We were taught how to do that. We were taught how to look at contracts. We were taught how to navigate sexual abuse in the industry. Even the young children were. Like, I mean, they didn't sit there and they told them what was safe in a childlike way for them to understand it, because that's important. You need to know that. And they really went all out. They put you on a stage in front of an audience and you deliver. And my purpose for mine was I had to make people cry. I had to deliver drama. And I've never been good at comedy, but I've been in comedy. It's a weird experience for me. So I did drama and I did horror and I did serious. I could not do drama, or no, I could not do comedy because I'm funny off screen, but I'm not funny when I'm acting. But there's a when you do that on stage and you do that in front of an audience, there's a thrill that you get when you can move an audience. I remember the way that they told us is that you had to think of a person who hurt you. And at the time when I got into it, I had an ex who left me for someone else and drove them to my house and threw back a ring, and then they were just done with me. And I lost my home, I lost my pets, and I was hurt. So I used that person and I visualized them in a chair. And in front of an entire audience, I sat there and told them how they hurt me. And I was yelling, I was screaming to the point that I just got in the floor and I was just broken and crying. And immediately, Joy said, "Action." And without even thinking about it, I knew in my head what I was supposed to say. And it came out the right words, but with my real emotion. And by the time that was done, the scene was done, every person in the audience was crying and they had to take a break. That feels to me what success is. And she told me, she was like, you should, because, she has worked on award winning films, especially her ex-husband. She said if that would have been in the film, you could have been up for an Oscar. And I was like, and it's a different style acting than what I've ever done, because I can't do that in independent film. Now I say that because there's two things here. You have these people who get hired, or people who are paying to be in a film, and they're looking for that same feeling that I had on stage. There's a difference. I was able to move an audience to get the satisfaction for myself, rather than having someone who paid and wants to be in it for them to feel the satisfaction. The difference is your audience feels it with you. And if you have somebody who's never done this before, and it's not to down them, they're the only person who's going to be satisfied, not the audience. And that is why you cannot just pay to have a massive part in a film. And I truly believe that this is the arts. It's called art because it's a technique that you learn, not just something that you do.
Adam, I've had small roles in indie horror movies and limited lines, but like I think I did a great job. But if you said to me right now, Travis, I'm going to give you the fucking lead role in my next movie, I would tell you, Adam, don't do that. Don't do that. And I would love to be, and I will absolutely love to be a lead in a movie. But acting is not my forte. That's not my thing. Listen, I'm a great speaker. There's a lot of things I'm great at. But I have, enough. I'm not a jack of all trades. I know that acting is not my thing. I don't know if filmmaking is my thing. We're going to find out soon. But I know that acting is not my thing because I didn't invest the time into it. I'm not willing to invest the time into. I'm not willing to invest everything that you are going to be good at. You're willing to invest time into doing. this YouTube
Mhm.
channel. I invested a lot of time and money for the future possibility of this channel blowing up, right, and making money.
Yeah.
So, and I over time I've worked on my craft where I'm the best fucking interviewer on this motherfucker. You know what I mean?
And I have to say that you are.
And
Out of any person who's ever interviewed me, and I have been in lots of interviews, I have told people that you are the person to interview if somebody, you know how to pull the story out of people. And I feel
yes,
comfortable with you.
and I
There's
can
a lot
fucking
of people
say
you don't
that.
feel comfortable with.
And I can fucking say that because I know that. I watch other people. I do. I support and watch other people. And I'm like, fuck, why wouldn't you not ask them that question? Like, like there's a question lingering right there. And you don't ask them that fucking question. You're asking them surface questions, but there's an important question. Like for instance, I'm going to give you an example. Someone interviewed. I can't think of this actor's name, but you would know him if you've seen him. He's not Danny Trejo. He's a Mexican actor, and he plays this chula in every damn movie. He's always a bad guy chula. He's skinny, right? Got the tattoos on his neck, and this indie horror. And he made his own. He's one of the guys who's typecast. He's the chula criminal in every movie. He was in
Is he like that
Wishmaster.
guy who's always like, there's this guy, and it might be the same guy. He plays Pedro in every, I think the name is Pedro. And it's just such like a basic name, but I know him from movies because he plays Pedro in every movie and
It's
is credited
literally
as
he was in
Pedro.
Training Day, like in Steven Seagal movies, action movies. He was in Wishmaster. He was the
Was he
guy.
was he the same actor that's in
Yes,
every movie? Like the same name.
yes.
That
I
yeah,
don't
I
know the
know you're
same
talking
name.
about.
Listen, baby, yes. And he decided to make his own fucking movie, right? And
Yeah,
I'm sitting there, I'm watching this interview with this guy, and I'm looking like there is a question that's looming that you didn't even fucking ask. This will be the first question I ask. How does it feel to be typecast? And this guy is a classically trained actor too. You know what I mean? He's a classically
yeah,
trained actor, and he's been for last 30 years typecast as this chula Mexican criminal. And he finally makes a movie where he gets to cast himself in a different light. And and the question that you don't fucking ask as an interviewer is like, what is it like to be typecast, and what is it like to now to show the world, hey, you have more range than being a fucking Mexican gangster? Why would
yeah.
you not ask that question? That'd be the first question
I
I
agree.
ask.
There I've been typecast for things before, and one of the things that and it does bother me, I don't like it per se. I don't like being typecast. And then there are some people who embrace it. And I think that that question is something that's never asked on actors. I think people think, oh, like I don't want to be rude to say, oh, like for example, like if you're a beautiful woman and you've done a lot of nudity and you've done a lot of,
If you're Jessica
schlock
Flux,
film.
but let's come out. If you're Jessica Flux, you're playing the bimbo who's showing your tits. That is what she's typecast as, unfortunately.
And here's the thing about her, and I will say this about Jessica. When
I listen.
when
I have nothing against Jessica Flux, but that is
yeah,
what filmmakers hire her for, and I don't know if she's okay with it or not. But like, I would love to see
I
her
think
in a role where she's,
not that.
you know what I mean, not that.
And I did do that. I cast her in Deadly Dealings because so many people, and it bothered me because A, she was a really good friend. She was a really good friend. And I had a lot of respect for her, and I had worked with her a lot on film. And and this is what I did. I cast her as a therapist in my film Deadly Dealings. And one of the things that I wanted to do was, I think that there are some women who tend to get the negative side because their looks. One of those being Anna Nicole Smith. And I say that because the woman was absolutely beautiful, but
Beautiful.
when you I mean, she's the epitome of beautiful. She was strikingly, stunningly
That was
gorgeous.
my crush. That was my crush. Everybody else's crush was Pamela Anderson. Nana Nicole was my crush.
And here's
Whoever
the
that
thing
is.
about Anna Nicole. As someone who, when I was younger, felt like a lot of who I was suppressed, and I saw this big personality on screen, and she was funny, she was smart, her interviews, and I don't. There was an interview um, where they asked her about feminism, and she did not even. She said, "I would love to like just be a mom, a stay-at-home mom, and be with my kids. I mean, that's I'm a mom." And some people would condemn her for that, but I think that that's how she really felt, and it's okay to be different. And it spoke volumes about who she was. Now, going back to Jessa Flux, I knew that Jessa had OnlyFans, and she, she did a lot of adult films as far as like the nudity and being the raunchy parts and things like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Hell, I was in them with her. Like Debbie Does Demons, she was nude the whole entire film. But here's my thing about that. I saw the quality in this woman, and I knew that she wanted to do something very good with not just her life but her career. And I got her role. I helped get her roles in, like, we did a film called Reunion from Hell, and I suggested her. It was, I want to say she was I forget if she was a talk show host about sex, and so she got to play a serious role, but at the same time bring those little characteristics as sprinkles on top of something that she would be good at. You wouldn't just hire someone who is not really comfortable, or who is someone who doesn't like, someone who, let's say they're a Christian, they don't have any type of OnlyFans or whatever, and they're an actor, and you cast them in that role. Are they going to be comfortable, and are they really going to pull that off?
No,
No. So there's a
no.
quality to her life that she could bring to the film. But what I wanted to do with Deadly Dealings with Jessa is I put her in a therapist role, and I had the chance, if I really wanted to do nude scenes, like the bathroom scene, but I didn't. We wanted to show just like the slide when she, like the side when she gets in the bathtub, leave a little to the imagination, but also she was really put together. And one of the things that people would be like, oh, she has the blue eyeshadow on, and she's dressed in like this delicate looking like pastel pink, and her house is just like, she's like sitting there fixing cupcakes, and she looks maternal in a way, but professional. And there's some of the dialogue that I had for her character was beautiful dialogue, purposely taken from like my dream journal that I used to keep. And I put that in there because I wanted to give this woman something amazing to work with, and something that she could take and be very proud of and grow as an actress, because I believed in her. I believed in her from the get go. And it takes time to get there. But I think that she went and I told her I want a Southern personality. What did she do? She went out, she watched Dolly Parton videos and Nicole Smith videos, and she brought that Southern charm, that Southern belle, straight to screen and nailed it. Nailed it.
I
And
would.
that is the quality. That is an actress. And that is a successful actress. And if you take her and you put her, and I would say this, you could put this woman in any role and she would do very well, because I know she has what it takes to go out and do good. And that is something I think most filmmakers don't see. They don't see the quality. Another one that I have to bring up, Deborah Dutch. Okay. That woman is one of the most talented actresses I have ever met in my life. And I've met a lot of freaking people. I've been to the conventions, I've networked, I've went to events with them, I've been at bars with them. And I'm talking like name actors. Like I remember I went out with like American Horror Story actors, and we were talking. But to sit and talk to Deborah Dutch, one of the most professional, one of the best actresses. She was known as One Take Debbie because she could do it in one take.
Wow.
And here's my thing with that. She's beautiful. She's got a very big chest, and she's a California girl. And is there a stereotype to to casting her and what I've seen her in? Yes. And I gave her this role in Screen Dream. And I wanted Debbie in this. I wanted to have her and Melissa back, but Melissa couldn't do it. And here's my thing though. I purposely gave her gold. And she brought it to screen. And I know people haven't seen it yet, but she's hilarious. And you just let her be her and do her acting and her method blow you away. And
I will
that's
say,
what independent filmmakers need to do. They need to look at the personality. Like for me, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I need a gay actor. I want somebody who's willing to do nudity and be a gay actor. Well, I made Scream Dream. It's not a gay film at all. And they're sitting there calling it a new LGBT horror film. And even on Deadly Dealings, they're like LGBT horror film everywhere it went. And it was because I shaved my head for a role. Okay, I shaved my head and I needed long hair. Well, it was during the COVID pandemic and I could not see what the wig looked like. It was a very expensive wig. You could not try them on because of COVID. So I had no idea what the wig was going to look like. I had to just say, okay, this matches my hair. It's lace front. Unfortunately, it was not what I should have chose. I should have got something different. But I was not about to play that role with a shaved head. It wasn't Milo. And I wanted to play Milo because that was the character that that I wrote from my personal experiences. And also I wrote the whole dynamic between a friendship that I had. So, for example, with that is people stereotype me in a sense, oh, he's queer, so he's making an LGBT film. And why can't I just be a filmmaker?
mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's the question. Why can't
100%
I
agree.
just be just a filmmaker?
If, by the way, let's go back to Jessica Flux real quick. If I was going to cast Jessica Flux, I would have her tone completely down to a natural state. And I've seen her in a natural state. Her natural state looks better than
100% agree.
the better than the wigs and the makeup and the titties hanging out. The natural state looks better. I would bring her down to her natural state and I would give her a serious role. That's what I would
And
do.
like she has as knowing her offset, hanging out with her. I remember one time we were up in her hotel room till I think 3 o'clock in the morning, and we all were just having fun. She's got a pizzazz about her, this pizzazz, and it's a personality that's so freaking likable. And it's true. It's she's got the pizzazz. And I think a lot of actors, like with me, like I'm really different. Like tonight, I'm trying to be a little bit more myself because when I get in front of a camera, I'm just a different person. But
Mm-hmm.
if you ask anybody, I'm constantly joking. I'm making everyone laugh. I'm saying off the wall shit that is like, I can't believe you just said that. Like, I have a little bit of a shock factor, and that's what people have told me my whole life. They're like, you're a little bit of a shock factor. And I'm like, but then you see me, sometimes I'm well reserved or I'm over the top. I'm using my hand gestures. But when I'm talking about film, it's a different story. I'm not myself. And I think I know I'm typecast because when I got into the industry, there was a lot of directors that was looking for men who would do nudity. And one of the things is I was sick at the time. I got a liver disease and it was killing me. And my body started to swell and it would go back down to normal, back and forth, back and forth. And people would say, "Oh, you're big, and it's not normal for a big guy to do nudity in film." And I was sitting here thinking, I mean, I really don't give a fuck. But my thing with that is, it was kind of like not the people who pointed that out. They liked it, not them, but the people who pointed it out, whether it be like on Letterbox or in reviews and things like that. It did kind of hurt, but you got to remember, as an actor and as someone who gets into this industry, everything that you do is for life. There's no taking it back. It can affect your job, and it has affected my job tremendously. I had to switch jobs because people was calling me a porn star. Excuse me, corn star. I can't say that word on YouTube, but they were calling me a porn star. I have never done porn in my entire life. Here, I never have. And I have a lot of friends who do it, who've done it. I have friends with some people from the 80s and the golden age, and they're some of the best people. And I want to throw that out there. And I wish that they had worked today. I think there's like 3 documentaries about how it can hurt you and they can't get jobs nowadays. But and here's my thing with that. I'm not going to say her name, but I told this girl, because we had worked together. She was doing OnlyFans, and I had told her, you are worth so much more. If anybody has the ability to go on to Hollywood, it's you. And I told her, I was like, you could not do what you're doing because you're selling yourself short. You're going to get typecast. And if you really want to pursue acting, I think out of anybody, you have that chance to do it. It's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you to keep doing what you're doing. I know it's honest work, and I'm not saying anything bad, but you got to remember, this is an industry that's tough. It's an industry that's competitive. It's an industry that takes that serious, because if you do an adult film, you become a sexual persona on screen for life, no matter what.
Life. Done.
And that is why, like, there was, what is her name? She was an adult film star, and she was on, is it Soul Train? That was the show where everybody went and danced back in the 90s. Like,
yes, Soul Train. Yes.
Yeah. So what, I was watching a thing on this that was actually quite interesting. There was an adult film star back in the 80s and 90s, and she was this beautiful black woman. I cannot remember her name. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And she had such a look. Like, I could have seen her on a sitcom, anything like that. They told her that she was a sexual persona, and that she was now basically a sexual object to men, that they can't have her on the show because so many people was like, oh, we got a porn star on this, on national television. And for me, I know, like, in today's world, I'm like, well, I mean, so what? Like, I mean, she's a damn good dancer. And that's what this whole show is about. Why does it have anything to do with her personal life? And the thing is that she did it to herself. She crossed out those roads that she could take. Now, it's not to say that you can never do it again. It just makes it harder to do.
Excuse me. But yeah, once you go into porn, it's you're when I interviewed I'm gonna give myself trouble, but I don't give a fuck. But even when I interviewed Gross Demon, the porn star, the stream anal porn chick, like,
Yeah.
she recognized that this was I'm not saying the end of her life, but she was recognized that, like, you know, it's going to interfere with relationships, it's going to interfere with jobs, it's going to interfere because, and she was using her real fucking name too. So, like, just a Google search. Like, I used to work for corporate America. Corporate America, we do scrubs on everybody. We do scrubs on every single employee for your social media.
Yeah.
Do you know how many employees I had to fire because I found out they had a back page profile? A lot. And like, so, like, it's, but at the same time, I was working in the funeral industry. The funeral industry is Christian related. You can't have someone who sells sex in a Christian business or even in a corporate business setting.
And I worked for a Christian company as well, and they found out that I did nudity in horror films, and they told everybody I did porn. Like, they told everybody, in the company. I walked into work one day and I thought I was going to be like stared a hole through me. And they
Yeah.
were so mean to me. And it's not to say that I don't respect what you're doing. And it's not to say that I don't like I'm against it. It's to say, hey, like, yeah, I'm sex positive. Like, do what you're gonna do. I'm not gonna judge you because I don't cast judgment. But it's to say you're marking some of the roads that you could take to a very amazing career. And obviously, like with Jessa Flux, she's been hired in lots of films. How many of those films, and I wish she was here to ask her, how many of those films were you
I wish
able
Jessica
to show your
would come
parents?
on my show. I wish she would come on my
I,
show for an interview. That
I
that would
wish
be the
she would
greatest
right
fucking
now.
Adam. That would be the greatest fucking interview ever if Jessa. But she doesn't answer my DMs. But that'd be the greatest one of the greatest fucking interviews if and if she was 100% honest with my questions. That would be the greatest
Yeah.
interview I think I've done. I would ever
And,
do.
and and here's the thing: is it's like, I take acting very serious. I will say I'm an actor before I'm a director. The reason that I make films is because I want to show people my art, my vision, my head, what goes in my mind. I want filmmakers to look at me and say, oh, he pays attention to this. He pays attention to that. I like what he's doing. That's what I want. I don't want fame. I don't want nothing like that. I truly could care less about that. I want to express an art form, but ultimately, I think what I would love is to either open up an actual studio, a production, like I have my own production name, but do I have a set that,
Yeah.
that's what I want. And I had somebody one time, they said, if you show me that you can make a movie, you show me that you can pull in a profit, I will fund a complete studio for you. For you, your writers, your actors, I'll get them residuals. They make residuals off of it for life. They have insurance. They have their own phone covered. Blah, 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 blah. And everybody does me dirty. And it's like, I'm sitting here, and I think that that's what people tend to do in this industry is you put in so much work. Like there was a film, I ain't gonna say who it was. We all know who it is though, but I ain't gonna say who it was. But here's the thing. This person showed up with a script, was supposed to be shooting in, I think, like a month. They
Mhm.
asked me to be in the film like 3 times, and I said no. I didn't want. I truly didn't have time to do it, and then I found out I had all this vacation time, and I was like, oh well, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. And then I really got into it. Well, here was the problem: is this person had went and double cast everyone. And what they don't understand that they did is they completely destroyed one of my favorite friendships I ever had with a cult actress that I was friends with for like 6 years. This person would call me and give me the license plate number off her date. And if she didn't call me at a certain time, I needed to call the FBI. That's what she would call and tell me. She would send me pictures. And then like she would call me, we'd have like 6-7 hour conversations every single day of my life. And she was cast in this role. And what happened hold on 1 second. Sushi, go sit down. Go sit down. You can't be near me right now. Go sit down. All right. So what happened is she was double cast, and because when people work with me, they know that I tend to do more than just acting, and they don't want to pay you for that. And I think they should, and I think that they should feel very horrible after everything I did do. But here's my thing: is she didn't get the role, and they said that she got it. They agreed to this massive sum of money, which was ridiculous, and then they also promised someone else, so she didn't get the role. She was no, they just didn't call her, but they gave it to her, and they did that to so many people in this industry, which turned in to causing drama amongst the whole industry. And like every single person that's in this industry that I know was attached to that film in some way. And I had no idea going into it. So all I knew was there was a script. Okay, well, we don't have this actor, this actor, this actor, this actor. I'm like, okay, well, I start recommending. I'm like, well, I know Joseph Lux. I know Cody Alexander. I worked with him. I know this person and this person and this person. And I know this person does music. They're a cinematographer and they do lighting and they do editing. And that would be beneficial. We should look at their work. Let's get them on. And I was like, okay, so we need locations. We need a special effects artist. I got the special effects artist. I worked with them on another film. I worked with them several times, actually. And then it was like, okay, well, we need locations. So then it's like, okay, so I'm thinking about different locations. I contact my birth father, who I haven't spoken to in 8 years because I'm adopted at birth. It was a closed adoption. And I just didn't talk to them. And I had my own past with them. I went out of my way to go back into my birth father's life. And that my birth father, I'm not going to say what he does, but he makes a lot of money. I want to put it that way. He makes a lot of money and he has a lot of properties. And they were demolishing a house the day that we were shooting, and he stopped the demolishment. We went in there and we got to bust through walls, stab walls, get blood everywhere because it was going to be demolished.
Yeah.
So on top of all that, he had like a $1.5 million yacht that he was like, you can go shoot on the yacht. It was like a fantasy dream boat. I don't know. It was weird, but it was really cool.
Is he Donald Trump? Is he Donald Trump?
No. Okay. But I will say that, and it's not just like I'm not like trying to bring up his wealth, but the reason I do is because he had a lot of filming locations that we could use. And I asked him, just showed up 8 years later, being like, hey, can we use your, because I'm making a movie and with these people. He's like, yeah, come on, do it. Didn't even charge them, which is amazing because, I guess it was because he was doing it for me and I'm really thankful for that. But he had so many different locations that we could use. And I did all this. I did a rewrite of first a little bit of and gave my input on it. And I got all these people involved, and I got the locations involved. And the director got an Airbnb and hired 2 people and wrote the script, and it needed to be changed because it was too much like Scream. So he did. That's all he did. He wasn't even there for us shooting the scenes. And the thing of it was, where was my credit? Not one time in any interview was there anything ever given to me. Not one time did he ever mention my name. In fact, he sent me an RSVP for a red carpet premiere, and I RSVP'd the same day, and I had me and Steve on there to RSVP. And then when we show up to the event, everyone's got a room at this hotel, and they're like, oh, I thought you weren't going to be here. That's what you're going to say. That's very inappropriately rude, because after all that I sacrificed, after all that I did, I took out a whole fucking month of just making the bare minimum with my vacation time instead of what I actually got paid, and you didn't even pay me. And I spent a whole week wide awake, never left my computer, working on this for you and getting all of this together. And then on top of it, dealing with people coming in and saying, oh, well, he did this and he did that. And there was all this drama, and I'm having to take care of all of it.
I'm telling
and
you,
I didn't get one. And that's the problem with this industry. I have been told before that you don't deserve pay because you're a man.
I listen to your stories and it scares me to get involved in the indie horror. And it's further than I'm already in. But I hear the horror stories from everyone. Now, real quick, Adam, I got one last question before we go ahead and wrap up. We're gonna get some shit right back. As the answer, we're gonna get some shit. It's gonna be like a 3-hour YouTube video or something.
I'm just speaking my truth. I'm speaking my truth, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I had half a gummy for this. I may need to just take one more.
Listen, at the end of the day, we didn't badmouth either side. We just said allegedly.
These are people of public concern. Honestly, you're in the public. Like, think about Hollywood for a minute. How many tabloids are about somebody? And if somebody says something negative,
but we
you don't
know
do
there's one
anything.
individual, but there's one individual that gets butt hurt. I'm not gonna say which one it is, but one individual definitely gets butt hurt and goes on attack. And guess what? I welcome it. I really do. I fucking welcome it. I like attacks. You know why? Because you're going to bring more people to my channel and more views. So this motherfucker
Hey,
might get more views than any other horror talk fucking
I will say
episode that
this.
we've ever done.
You have me on a gummy right now. And I will say anything and everything you want me to, completely uncensored. You can ask me. I'll give it to you. I know you want to ask just one more question, but
I'm
if
gonna
you
ask.
really want to, I will
Uh,
allow any question to me.
okay, I'm gonna ask one more question since no one's watching at this point, right?
Yeah.
And then because I got to wrap up anyway, because I got life. But
Right. This
can
is
I
a
ask you a
pass
question?
for me. This is
Who
completely uncensored.
and you can say any name. And you got to say the actual name. Who's the biggest piece of shit in the indie horror industry right now? Who do you say is the biggest piece of shit?
Oh, damn. Well, since they blackmailed me for over a year, tried to, just out of nothing, I'm going to say Hayden Newman was the biggest piece of shit that I ever worked with. And then as a director, and after not paying me anything and not saying that I really had any part of making that film, and we pretty much
Are they
just
a piece of shit?
absolutely,
But are they a piece of shit on a broad spectrum? Like
yeah,
you've heard from other people that this person that
oh
they're a piece
yeah,
of shit as well. Okay.
I've heard that. Now, aside from that, is there was sorry, I don't want to get flack. Anthony Camino. I'm sorry. I saw everything you did. And I saw everything you wrote about me. And
Oh
and
fuck.
and I'm on a gummy. So Anthony, you're a piece of shit. You've always been a piece of shit. And then Scotty McCoy, you fucking told me that I wasn't hot enough to get raped when I actually
Yes.
was raped like 10 years ago. And I'm just saying, like, I don't talk about that, but like, really? And then you have all these people on your show, and then it's like, oh, he wasn't hot enough to get raped in real life.
But damn, Adam, we started off by saying that we will be neutral
There's
when
a
it came to
lot of people that
the
are
piece
some
of.
shit
I
people
was
up in
saying
there.
Adam, I wasn't expecting you to say Anthony. I thought we were being neutral to the two
We
pieces.
being neutral, but I saw what he did. I saw what that was. I saw everything he did. I saw all the videos that had been taken down. I found that YouTube channel, and they're all gone, but they had a channel where they slander every person in independent horror. And if you're going to build your fan base off downing someone else, you're a piece of shit and you're not a fucking filmmaker. And you know what? If your girlfriend runs back to someone and says that she's trying to get away from you, and you punch that bitch on streaming on YouTube, you attacked your own girlfriend, and the camera went
Stop it,
off.
Adam. I'm keeping all
I'm
this.
a
I'm not even
Baptist,
editing.
and
I'm
I
not even
believe in the
editing.
Lord, but I have no judgment. But you're a piece of shit. Like, I'm sorry, you are. But if we're on a roll here, I can tell you about some shit because I mean, honestly, if you want to go into the actors part of it,
We'll do that on the next
ooh,
episode. We're gonna have you take a gummy on the next episode, and guess what? I'm gonna take a gummy on the next episode too. And I want you
yeah.
to ask me the same question: who do I think is the biggest piece of shit in the indie? And
Let's
I've
be
only been
honest
in
here.
it for 2 years.
Before
I've
we
only been in it
ever
for 2 years.
record, before anybody does an interview, before anybody does anything, it's like going to confession with someone. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like everybody talks about what's really going on, but nobody really wants to talk about it. They talk about it, but they don't want to talk about it. And I think that is like for
25% of my guess. 25% of my guess. This is something. I'm gonna say by 30% of my guess ask me to edit out huge chunks of their fucking interview, or because they don't want to be honest. And like you say, I pull shit out of people that they're not expecting to pull out. That's why I'm good at what I do. I pull shit out. And some people, if
Can I
you
just
only
add one
knew,
more thing while
okay,
I'm on the roll real quick? Can I just talk about how I called up one of the lead actresses to the first reunion from Hell, and I read her the script to part two that I was writing, and was writing it as I was on the phone with them. And that's the whole reason they dropped out of part two, because they stole my script and they lived in Alabama and they came to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is 30 minutes away from me, and filmed the movie that they stole off me. And my co-star, who I had worked with in several other films, then said, well, I don't want to be in the drama because that they're not hurting me. But you want to role in my film, and you're supposed to be my friend. I recommended you and got you a role. And then, like, I'm not mad about it, but there's like a respect there that was just annihilated. And it's like you went and made the film, and then they fired you on set when you got there.
well, Adam,
What did you get out of that?
Adam, we learn a lot tonight.
Oh, you do.
Excuse me, I got this fucking cough. We learned that that it's okay to have two movies, you know, with a similar fucking aspect. I mean, that's hard. I mean, I grew up with Child's Play and then Demonic Toys and Puppet Master and Dollman. All that fucking shit came out in the same fucking realm. And guess what? I enjoyed each one of them for different reasons.
But here's the thing: killer food is not a new concept. It's never. It's what was the first killer food movie? I would probably say like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Which is classic. I love that. I love the cartoon growing up. I fucking love that series.
I mean, it's not even. It's like tomatoes are killing people. Okay, what's the difference between a tomato and a pizza?
Nothing. But we also learned too. Yes, and we also learned too that crowdfunding is dead for the most part.
Yes,
it really is.
And
it's dead.
The thing about that is that I think about crowdfunding is I think, you know, you have people still making movies all the way back from like they've worked in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, the early 2000s, and the 20s, and here we are. And it's like there are people who know how to do it, and there are actors that are willing to work for nothing that will charge other actors everything they've got. Like, I have seen it. And it's not about, like, I'm not saying nothing bad about it, but you wonder why people are backing away from making movies. And it's like, well, it's hard. It's expensive. When your rate is $250 a day and you're one person, or it goes up to $350 a day, and then they're like requesting more money and more money and more money, and then you don't pay the men in it. Like, I mean, I've seen it. I've been on a set where the women got paid and the men didn't. And here's my thing with that is it's like, it's not fair, but you know, if it's not in the budget for everyone to get paid, then it shouldn't, you should take a step back. Or if you can find someone who's willing to work with you to help get, like, if you have to make payments to them, some people are cool with that too. Or some people do a trade. Like I worked with Dixie Garris for a minute, and here was the thing. I worked for her on her films and didn't get paid, but she worked on my films and didn't get paid. It was like a trade. And we did that back and forth. I was in 3 of her films, and she was in my feature, and I was going to have her in my second feature, but you know, she couldn't do it. But here's my thing with that is it's like, that's okay too. That's okay. Yeah. At least you're getting something else besides money out of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But also it's like I've talked to several actors, and for one is it's like, I know that you have worth, and the worth is there, but if you know that something can be really good and you really like the idea, you have a choice. You can do it, or you don't have to do it. And if somebody gets fired from a project, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's drama. maybe they just didn't fit in the
The
financial
fold.
part of that.
Yeah.
And if you promote them on the film and then you say, hey, I'm sorry, like, we're having to make changes. I had to do that with Screen Dream. I had to. I could not pay the salary that was being asked of me. And I, told them, I was like, I'm sorry, but I don't think this is going to work out. I had people who was telling me, oh, I'm sick. But then I get on their Facebook and they're on a photo shoot or they're on another film. I need somebody who can read with me. And I specifically, and for this film, I specifically told them, I'm hiring someone to come in and show us how to play with algorithm. What this includes is going to include work from you within the first month. For 1 month, I have to have you in this. And if you are able to do that, then you can have the role. But if you're not able to do this, then I'm not going to have you in the role. I'm going to have to go with someone else. And the problem that I don't think that they understood was we needed a certain something from them that they could not give at the time. It was time. They were doing things, a lot of things, and I wanted to give a quality role to these people. And the problem with that is they never had time. And what happened was where I hired someone to come in, like all these people that you see with successful Indiegogos did the same thing that I'm doing. They hired this person or someone who does the same thing that this person does. And they come in and they teach you how to play with algorithm. And now you're playing in a whole different ball game aside from filmmaking. Now you're playing in marketing and you're playing with those algorithms and you're watching that go up and down as far as getting what you're trying to get across to people and getting pushed into people's algorithms to show up on Facebook, on YouTube, on Indiegogo, things like that, getting on the front page of Indiegogo and people all around the world seeing your project. There's a difference. There's a difference with that. And I'm not going to go into that because, again, I was under NDA with that. But here's a problem with that. You have to have your leads do certain amount of things, say certain things, go on camera, go on interview. You have to make videos. You have to do that. And if you don't do it, you'll suffer. Yeah, we took off and we made $18,000 in 3 days. But by the end of that campaign, 6 months later, we were at 22,000. But the first 3 days was 18,000. So you see how it slowed down.
Just dropped off.
When you're playing with that, and this is not something that I can break from the NDA, but it obviously it works because you see all these other people doing it. They're making $100,000. We were projected to bring in, I think, around $100,000 for Screen Dream, which we didn't. And what suffered was I had 3 people. I believe it was 3 people that would, yeah, it was 3 people who was like, oh, well, I can't share this. I can't promote this. I'm not going to bring, I don't know anybody who can give money to it. And it's like, you took this job knowing what I was asking you of. And now you're telling me you can't do this. And here we are at the most crucial stage where the money's coming in. We're playing with the algorithm. If you drop off, I'm losing thousands of dollars. And I did. We were projected to bring it, and you may not bring in $100,000. But what happens is when you're playing with the algorithm and the essential people that you need front face to do this, that have agreed to do it, then back out, your money stops coming in.
Yeah.
And we suffered badly. I don't care if we went, what's it called? All over the internet and viral. We went all over Indiegogo, all over Facebook. It don't matter at that point because how you play the game is now broken. Your players are gone. And what happened is the people who were involved with this project did not understand that concept. And then now you're getting into the field of, well, I'm an actor, I shouldn't promote film. And you see that a lot on independent films. And then you have the public ask, well, if you're in a film, why would you not want to promote it? Which is a good question, but it's a lot of work. That's the answer. And that's why we ask. Some people just want to show up to set, do their part, and get paid a big sum of money. And to me, I was asking for work for 1 month to share this stuff. Then I would have been able to get what you were asking for. I would have been able, luckily we got a bed and breakfast that had an extended stay of a duplex across the street. Everyone had their own bed, their own bathroom, but you got to think about that. And I think people need to understand this too, especially as an actor. The more money that you generate for a project, the more comfortable you're going to be on set. You may be able to hire a chef. And that's actually
Yeah.
something that they do, is to cook the food while you're all acting or going and getting food. And I was having to have Ronnie go out and Steve spent, I think it was like $12,000 on food for 2 weeks.
Jeez.
And the thing was, he was cooking, Ronnie was cooking, we had the people who
Gotta have
owned the
all
house that was cooking, and we could not afford someone to come in and cook. And that's just something that an actor needs to think about, and why we promote this stuff. You want a more comfortable stay? You want a big suite? You want a nice bed? I know some people who sleep in people's floors in their basement while they're filming. But yeah, and it happens every shoot. I gave everyone a bed and their own well, I think 2 people had to share a bathroom, but everyone had their own bathroom and everyone had their own bed to stay in, and it was comfortable. It was a nice old Victorian, beautiful home with elaborate furniture, elaborate bed, elaborate bathrooms.
That's more than
And
most filmmakers are doing.
yeah,
That's
and
way
I
more than
get
most.
shit on. I got a message like a week prior going off on me because they said, "Oh, you don't have a plane ticket for me. I don't have a place to stay. I'm not going to get 3 meals a day. I'm not going to get my 3." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I have the
Yeah.
whole place. I got an own bedroom for you. I got your own bathroom for you. I even got your wardrobe for you, and I got your makeup for you. I'm not even asking you to use your own makeup." So, yeah, like, people got to understand that when you take a job, I'm not saying it's a part of your job description, but when someone gives you a role of, "Hey, will you do this?" And upon taking this role, you agree to promote this film when I ask you and what you're going to do, and you tell me yes, then I expect you to do it. And a
But Adam,
second to that,
it's mhm.
don't turn around and say, "Oh, well, I'm going to have my boyfriend there the whole time because he's going to have to drive me." I also, and I can't drive. I'm just going to put it at that. I can't drive, and I have to have my boyfriend with me at all times. And you telling me this how many months later from the time you were hired, and we've been crowdfunding now? I'm not going to
it's
sit here and pay for his food. I ain't going to pay for his place to stay.
it's
That
supposed to
ain't
be a
no
team
problem.
effort. It's definitely supposed to be a team effort. I mean, I even say that even when I interview someone, it's a team effort. I'm promoting you, and you're promoting me. It's just
Yeah.
not me promoting you. It's supposed to be going back and forth, and we're working as a team to
And
hopefully build something together. And so
that is the
some people
problem
see it, and some
with
people don't
independent.
see it. Yeah, some people, 50% of people see it, 50% of people don't see it, and
Yeah.
it's a shame. It's a shame.
It,
All right,
and the
listen.
thing is with that, just go real quick off that, is, people who do go out and make film and all these independent films, that all goes along with your set design and everything. You put what you can to craft it into something.
Mhm.
And the same as your cast and the same as your leads. And if somebody can't do it, or if it can't be done, at least try to do it yourself. I
Yeah,
tried, and put forth the effort, pretty
I
much is what
agree,
I'm trying to say.
and it shows. It definitely shows. It definitely shows at the end of the
Yeah.
day. All right, listen, everyone. We're gonna get some shit for this one. I'm looking forward to that. All right, listen, everyone. Thank you for coming to another edition of the Horror Talk here at the Horror Realm. Hit that like and subscribe button and the hype button. I am Travis Bruce, and that's my man, Adam Freeman. We'll see you next time. Adam, we're definitely in trouble with this one. Take
We
care.
are, but it's okay.